And then what I would do is kind of stagger in between. So you might want to put another path light kind of over here, depending if this is straight across, then maybe move it down a bit. But again, if you have some shrubs and some stuff in the background, that you can kind of have that path light highlight a little bit as well also, so you're not just highlighting the ground, you're kind of getting two effects with one. And really that's what I would do, is I would just try and stagger those down the pathway, kind of like you've done with the 18-inch ones. I would say in a darker area like this, you can probably go about 12-foot spacings is typically enough.
Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca, or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our Try It Before You Buy It offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for the Lighting Doctor.
Hey, Dennis and Celestia, thanks for your email and for your pictures. I'll definitely give you some ideas and some thoughts. I will mention just a couple things with lights. So if you're looking at lighting some pathways and gardens, a couple things, especially in a bigger area like you have. One thing that's going to be very determinant of how far that light is going to spread is the height of that path light. So a lot of times people think a brighter bulb will necessarily spread more light, and that's not always the case. A lot of times if you can just get it higher, it's going to spread more. Sometimes you have a brighter bulb, all it does is create more of a hot spot on the ground. The other thing you want to consider, and you know, to your guys' point, the reason I don't like using a lot of lights like this where you can see the light source is because what happens a lot of time, especially if you get these too bright, this becomes very glary, and the purpose of these would be to light these stepping stones so you're not tripping over them, and a lot of times it defeats the purpose because now you just see this big bright light and you can't even see the stepping stones. So that's why we primarily use a couple path lights only. There's literally hundreds of models that we can choose from, but these are kind of the two that we prefer. If you're looking for more of a modern look, these ones are great. They're about 22 inches in height, which is nice. They spread the light a little bit further than these ones. The only thing is it's only a 270-degree spread in front, as opposed to obviously all the way around, because the light goes out all the way around. The nice thing is though, that you can conceal the source a little bit more. So if you're going with these ones because you like the modern look, you typically don't need as many as you do with these ones. But the one thing I will say is these and most path lights come with a standard 12-inch riser, and what you would want to do is go with more of an 18-inch riser, which brings the height of that light pretty darn close to the same height as like a modern path light, which again, the benefit of that is not needing as many. And the nice thing is you don't see the light source, so it's just going to light those stepping stones. The other thing I'm going to talk about is it's not always just about lighting the stepping stones too, and I'll talk about this on the driveway a lot as well. Part of a good kind of pathway lighting system is not just lighting down below, but also creating some visuals as you're walking out, so you kind of know where to go, and it's not just the stepping stones that are lit. The other thing that does too is it can help save you some money too, because you're going to need fewer path lights if you do something like that. So, you know, for example, in an area like this, excuse me, in an area like this, I would just use those path lights, and really you just got to decide which model you like more. I do like the modern ones, but obviously they're a lot more, because you guys have more bed and some stuff behind. You might want to just stick with more of a traditional one, so it not only lights the pathway, but also behind. The other nice thing about going with those 18-inch ones, you can bring them a little bit further back from the pathway, which again is nice. It's just less chance of them getting kicked or knocked over and that kind of stuff. And what I like to do whenever I'm putting path lights is I like to try and take advantage of some of the other features that I have around. So say for example, like I would probably try and get a path light somewhere around this rock, kind of where you have this one, because the nice thing is that light's going to hit that, it's going to reflect off it, make that rock stand out, and give you a little bit more light. And then what I would do is kind of stagger in between. So you might want to put another path light kind of over here, depending if this is straight across, then maybe move it down a bit. But again, if you have some shrubs and some stuff in the background, that you can kind of have that path light highlight a little bit as well also, so you're not just highlighting the ground, you're kind of getting two effects with one. And really that's what I would do, is I would just try and stagger those down the pathway, kind of like you've done with the 18-inch ones. I would say in a darker area like this, you can probably go about 12 foot spacings is typically enough. And then on top of that, what I would do is I would highlight some of the features as you're walking down. So I would probably just use an uplight, a standard uplight like this, and I would probably try and throw it at the base of this tree and have it shining fairly upright. A lot of times when people try and light different trees and structures, they'll bring them back here and try and shine it at the canopy, where you're almost always better off having it a little bit closer and having it shine more upright. Creates a more gentle effect, and in essence actually lights more of the tree. And the reason I like doing that, because say I lit that one, maybe I put an uplight on this one, and then some of these taller trees in the background I might use an uplight as well, but I might use a higher intensity beam. Now you can see as you're walking down this pathway, it's not just the stones that are lit, but it kind of gives you a really nice visual leading into the backyard. And say, for example, too, if you have this one uplit, then obviously, you know, I wouldn't throw another path light kind of right in front of it in this area. I might stagger where that rock is. You have an uplight here, and then maybe you have another path light over here, and then your other path lights over here. So sometimes you can get away with less path lights that way. I would kind of do the same, you know, the same kind of scenario here. Obviously there's less things to uplight, but kind of like you guys have done, you know, roughly 12 foot spacings or so. You can always move them too. The nice thing is all the path lights, I mean, the ones that we have anyway, they have a 10-foot lead wire on them. So if you wire it in and you don't like where it looks or need to move it, you can go ahead and you can move that within a pretty good range. But you know, same thing, just kind of trying to stagger, maybe over here, one on the other side over here. Again, kind of what you've done here. Just depends, you know, on the length of the pathway. But again, this is where if you lit a couple of these big trees in the background, that would also look really good. It's not necessarily like in the pathway, but it creates that visual, just like when you go into a hotel and you drive up the, you know, their driveway. They don't typically just light the driveway. They have like big palm trees or big, you know, some kind of big trees that are lit up along that. So it makes the entrance and the walkways, you know, a lot, for lack of a non-cornier word, but make it look very grand. And obviously you don't need to do that on every tree like they do, but having a little bit of that effect in the background is a really nice way to kind of light these areas. You know, same thing over here. I would use the same kind of path lights. Try and stagger them, because the nice thing too is whenever you stagger them from side to side, it kind of lights. It does a better job of lighting, because now this one's kind of covering over here, whereas this one's kind of covering over here. It just, and I don't even know the exact science behind it, but it just seems to do a better job of covering more of the landscape. Again, on a fountain or a waterfall like this, I know you guys said you don't want anything in it, but this is where I would try and highlight this as you're walking down this pathway, where I would probably use like a wash light. Wash lights are really good for low-lying structures like that. It's a softer, wider angle light than an uplight, so you can kind of have that just highlighting the rocks here. As I go around, I mean, same thing over here. I think, you know, yeah, you have one light here that kind of is going to cover now most of this area, so that you probably only need maybe one over here and one over here. Again, I think the further back you can get it from the walkway is always better, because then there's less chance of it being a tripping hazard and getting knocked over, which you know from having these that happens. Obviously, the ones I'm talking about are a lot more durable, but that doesn't mean somebody's not going to have one glass of wine too many and trip over one. So you just want to have it a little bit further back. And again, lighting some of the features around with an uplight. You don't need a lot of them, but just a couple of the trees that kind of stand out. And play with that too. As you're walking down that pathway, keep in mind what things kind of stand out to you, and if you can put a light on them. And a really good way to go and test this out, and it's one of the reasons that we've done it, it's called our Try It Before You Buy It light, where you can actually go and you can get a path light, and you can get an uplight that comes with this battery pack that basically you can just plug it into this battery pack, and you can go and set it in some of those areas that I talked about, so you can get a really good feel for the look that you guys want. So hopefully that makes sense. I know you said this was kind of a lower priority, but again, this is where I would probably try and do some uplighting. I think one of the things I love doing, especially in a front entryway like this, and I know there's ways to get under here pretty easy, but a lot of times I'll throw an uplight on these two kind of front columns. It really makes the front of the house inviting. And the other thing too is it lights those columns. The light hits here and kind of spreads, and it almost like it creates a lit archway that makes that entryway very, very inviting. Same thing, just over here, I would probably try and have a wash light, sorry, not a wash light, an uplight behind these two shrubs that is just kind of highlighting this beautiful stone that you have here. It would also highlight a little bit of this side. And when you do that, it gives you a little bit of reflective light also that helps act as kind of like a pathway light, but without having to see the fixture, and help save some money, which is always nice. And then same thing on the driveway. I never like to use too many path lights on a driveway because most cars have headlights anyway, so it's almost like a waste unless you're walking down that driveway at night. You know, there's the path lights really, they really don't do a whole lot. So what I like to do more so is same kind of thing in the backyard is I want to take a couple of the features that are around, like your name rock here, and probably throw a wash light on that and have that stand out. I would throw a uplight with a slightly higher intensity beam to light up this tree. You have some trees over on this side. I would probably try and uplight those, maybe uplight an evergreen. A couple of these kind of back along the house, I would just try and throw a couple uplights on those too. So same thing, you're not necessarily lighting the driveway. I think it's really important to light down below when you have like stepping stones and stuff you can trip over. But the driveway is pretty flat. I mean, I'm not going to say nobody's going to trip on a driveway, but it's less likely, and most of the cars have headlights. So I'm a much bigger fan of highlighting some of those things in the background, and that's how I would handle the driveway. Same thing. You throw 3 uplights on here. Oh, this is the area by the house that you see. So that makes perfect sense. You already have an uplight here. You probably already have another one there. So that lends itself to the driveway. And that's where you can kind of play around too. As you walk down the driveway and you have this lit, you might find, hey, you know what? It would look really good if I did light this one and this one coming up the driveway. So maybe that's something you want to add to it as well. It's one important thing. Always play around with viewing angles. Where are you most likely to see those features and those lights from? Go and walk those areas so you can kind of get an idea for what you want to start lighting. So I know I didn't give you exact numbers and exact plan or anything, but I kind of want to more give you some concepts to work with, because you'll probably have a budget that you want to work inside. And that's one of the things too that we try and do a lot is I would hate for you to blow your whole budget on 30 path lights just to light the ground, when you could maybe use half of that and then just have a couple uplights that really make things stand out. So yeah, again, let me know what you think. I would probably say, I can't remember exactly where you said the transformer and stuff would be, but I would probably go with a larger transformer, something like a 300 watt one like this, just because it is such a big area. And if you ever want to add more lights, you'll have the potential to do that. Also, this has multiple taps on it, so that it makes running the wire easier, so that you could have one wire that just runs down and does the driveway. You could have maybe one that just does the, everything back here, and then you have one that just does a smaller one that just does the front. I mean, you kind of split things up that way. Not that I think you'll have any issues with voltage drop or anything. It just sometimes makes things a little bit easier than having to, run wire all over the place. You just make a couple straight, simple runs to your light. So yeah, let me know how else I can help, and we can always go from there. If you need help kind of customizing a kit, just let me know roughly what ideas you like, what you don't like. I would suggest that the try before you buy lights is a really good way to start, so you can see what it's going to look like on the property before you kind of make any big decisions. But let me know how I can help.
Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. We're going to show you how to light up your landscape with our Try It Before You Buy It landscape lighting kit. So what you're going to find in your Try It Before You Buy It landscape lighting kit is 4 things. You're going to find our RS uplighting fixture from FX Luminaire. You're going to find our wash lighting fixture from FX Luminaire, and you're going to find our path lighting fixture from FX Luminaire, which are 3 of the most used lights that we use in any of our landscape lighting projects. And along with that, it's going to come with a King Innovation Instalight, which is a battery pack that's going to allow you to go and test out these lights on your property to see which lights are going to look best where. The Try It Before You Buy It kit is a chance for you to go and feel the difference between a good quality light and a premium quality fixture and the poor quality lighting that you're going to find online and in a lot of other stores. So you get to test those lights out for 14 days, go and plug them in, test them out on your property, see what's going to look best. And if you don't love it, you send it back to us and you get a full refund. And if you do, you keep those lights at a discounted rate and you just get whatever else you need. And then to help you with that, we've come up with our free consultations where you can actually send me pictures of your property and we're gonna help determine what are gonna be the best lights to use in the best spots around your property to make your landscape lighting project run as smooth as possible. So I hope you guys take advantage of our try it before you buy it kit with our uplight, our wash light, and our path light. All right, so first is the RS landscape light from FX Luminaire. This is a super durable, really high quality LED light that's great in your landscape if you need to, say you need to highlight some beautiful trees that you have on your property. If you have some nice stone architectural features around your home, this is a great light to use. You can change the intensity of the bulb just by using a different lamp. So if you have a small tree that's only maybe 10 to 15 feet high, you can use the standard 4-watt LED lamp in here. If you're using trees that are maybe 15 to 20 feet high, you can increase that to the 5-watt LED. Or if you've got some giant oak trees or some really big trees on your property where you need to push that light at 25 feet or higher, that's where you get into the 6-watt LED lamps to really push that light out and make those features really stand out. This light can be used in a lot of different applications. We use it a lot for perimeter lighting. So if you have trees or shrubs or different bushes and stuff around your property and you just want to make your whole property look bigger, it's a great way to go and highlight those around the perimeter just to make that whole yard stand out. Next is the WS wash light from FX Luminaire. This is a great accent light for areas where you just don't need as much light as you would use from an uplight or a spotlight or an accent light. This light has a wider angle beam spread as well as it has a frosted lens, which just helps soften that light. So where we like using this is anytime you have a low-lying shrub, so you have just a big bush or a tree that's not that high and it's a little bit wider and you just want to get some nice subtle light on this, this is a great light to use. We use it a lot for perimeter lighting. So if you have a bunch of shrubs and different plantings around your backyard, you can use this to actually backlight your fence or wall areas to help create some subtle lighting around there and make your property stand out a little bit more. This is a great area if you have some nice big rock features or address rocks in your yard that you want to just put a little bit of light on, but you don't want to overpower. This is a great light for it. Anytime you have an area where you just don't need to push that light super high, but you want to make sure you're getting some kind of light on it, whether that just be nice, subtle, soft light, or you're trying to accent something in particular, this is a great light to use. The other area where I love using this light is on the second tier of your home. A lot of times people forget to go and light that second tier, the bedroom dormers and different areas like that. Well, with a simple gutter mount from FX Luminaire, which I'll talk about later, I'll show you guys how you can go and mount this on your eaves troughs and highlight the second tier of your home and completely take your landscape lighting to the next level where most people miss out. Next is the PL Path Light from FX Luminaire. This is a great light to use anytime that you need to highlight some walkways or steps or create some security lighting in some really dark areas. It's a great light for just creating some contrast between some accent lighting on your home and in your landscape, between some down lighting down on the ground and the garden bed areas that you use. The one thing I will say about the path light and any path light is people often tend to use more path lights than they need to. So my recommendation is use these sparingly and use them only where you need to create that contrast. If you have areas where you have big giant rocks or boulders in your landscape, it's a great light to use because you get a lot of reflective light off of those rocks. Something I always get asked about these lights is how far apart do you space them? And as a general rule of thumb, we tell people 8 to 12 feet apart, but it really depends on how dark that area is. The darker the area, the further away you can space them. And changing the intensity of the bulb doesn't always change how bright that light is going to be or how far that light's going to spread. It's more determined by the height of the riser. So In most of our kits, you're gonna find a standard 12-inch riser that you can space between 8 and 12 feet, depending on how dark that area is. But if you're looking to spread that light a little bit further, look at getting an 18-inch or 24-inch riser on your path lights, and that's how you can go and really spread that light out so that you don't have to overuse them, but you can just use them in the right spots to create that subtle downlighting on your garden beds, patios, and so many more other areas. But if you're looking for more ideas on where to use these and how to best use these, be sure to go to our website at lightingdoctor.ca and access our free consultation video series where you can actually send us pictures of your property, and we're going to send you some different ideas on how you can go and best use this light and so many others. So thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys got some great do-it-yourself landscape lighting tips. Now please be sure to go to our website at lightingdoctor.ca and check out our how-to page. It's full of great resources, from our podcast to our video to our most frequently asked questions. And also check out our try it before you buy it light, where you can actually go now and get one of our premium quality uplights and a King Innovation Insta-Light, which is basically a battery pack now that allows you to go and run those lights and test them out on your property. Try it for 14 days. If you don't love it, send it back to us and we'll give you a full refund. And if not, you keep the light at a discounted rate and go and buy what you need for your project. So thanks again for watching. Please be sure to leave us a comment. We love your feedback. Have a great day.